Hey guys, Cal here today with another new car review, and today I am standing here with the all-new 2025 Nissan Kicks, and according to Motor Trend, this is the fourth least expensive brand new SUV on the market right now, beginning at $23,220. This one stickers a little over $25,000 because this does have some added options as well as all-wheel drive, so that's where that price jump comes in. Now, the least expensive SUV on the market right now is the Chevy Trax. However, that does not offer all-wheel drive. The Nissan Kicks here does. So for being such an inexpensive SUV, is it not great or is it actually pretty decent? Let's go ahead and take a look at it together and find out for that inexpensive price point if it's any good. I wanted to start off by taking a look at the window sticker on the all-new Nissan Kicks. Now, as you assumed by the black door handles, black mirrors, and those hubcaps down below, the S is the base model. So this is about as inexpensive as this all-new Nissan Kicks gets. However, this is the all-wheel drive, so it is a little bit more expensive than, say, if you got a front-wheel drive model. So look at this window sticker here. Starts at $23,330 is the base price. Has a pretty hefty destination charge of $1390 there. Couple added options. Got the splash guards for $260. Those are fitted on this one. They're not very big. I don't really think they do much, but those are $260. And then the carpeted floor mats, they charge you $200 for that. Everything put together, it's $25,180. You have the engine info over here, 141 horsepower from that naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. Comfort and convenience, stuff about your radio down there. Your exterior, what it comes with out here. So that all put together, about $25,000. And you know, of course, once they start throwing some incentives on this, that will get below that $25,000 mark. And to have an all-wheel drive vehicle for under 25 grand, once those incentives really start to hit on these, that's really, really good. So if you live in the Northeast or you live in a snowy climate and you need an all-wheel drive vehicle, this is definitely a good choice for you. Taking a look at the front end of the all-new Nissan Kicks, we'll go ahead and start with the headlights, these LED headlamps right here. I find it really, really cool that Nissan decided to put these on the base model. It's not something like a halogen headlight because they are really pretty to look at. Like, I think it's got a really neat, just futuristic look to it. So I love these headlamps. You also do have the LED turn signal. It's not like a halogen turn signal. This in the center here, these slats, they are gloss black, and so is this little piece right up top, right above your Nissan logo. And then as we move towards the bottom, you do have some flat black plastic right below the grille that then runs down to the air dam there, and then little pieces of chrome trim here right below the headlight housing, just to kind of spice things up. So I do find that kind of cool. And I think in this segment, for how affordable this car is, Nissan has done a really, really good job at making this very stylish for an affordable car. I think the design team has done a great job on this. I love the look of it. Taking a look under the hood of the 2025 Nissan Kicks is the naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder, putting out 141 horsepower and 140 pound-foot of torque, and that is all routed to a CVT transmission. So I really do appreciate with this powertrain that Nissan has kept it a 4-cylinder and hasn't gone to a 3-cylinder like some of its competitors, and there is no turbocharger on this. That's another good thing. So overall, the engine, I have pretty good feelings about the longevity and the reliability of it, but the CVT transmission, I myself am not a fan of them. I think they provide like sluggish takeoff at some of those higher highway speeds and you're trying to merge onto the freeway. I think the only improvement, if maybe they could do an automatic, just a regular automatic transmission in the future, that would be great. It's not gonna happen, but it would be really, really cool to see from Nissan. Moving down the side profile of the Nissan Kicks, we'll take a look at that. You'll see that this very neat style line on the side profile here, it comes out of the headlamp right there, starts there, goes all the way under the mirror. By the way, on the mirror, look at that, Kicks on the mirror. Cool little style detail. That style line continues over the doors and meets the tail lamp in the rear. I mean, how cool is that? I really think, just like I said on the front end, I think Nissan has done a really good job with the styling of this car. I mean, for the price point this is at, right, being the fourth least expensive SUV in the country right now, they didn't really have to do anything creative. They could have made a really, really boring SUV and just not put any effort in just because it's inexpensive, right? But they've done some cool little touches here and there. It says Kicks right there. It says Kicks right back here on the window. Got some chrome trim up top right there. Black door handles with a plastic finish, as you can see there. Doesn't look like there's going to be any passive entry. Probably just going to have to use the remote to do unlock the doors, you do have that blind spot alert on your mirrors, but it is just a matte black plastic finish on those mirrors. Not really going to have any issues with rock chips down below. And then they've also put that around the wheel wells as well. And then one thing I want to give a nod to Nissan for as well is these hubcaps. I think these are pretty cool designed hubcaps for being hubcaps. Like 20 years ago, every hubcap you saw was just hideous. They really did not have an attractive look to them, but these actually look pretty decent and they fit the style of the car pretty well. Those are wrapped in the Kumo. It's a 215/65/16 for that size. So you should be pretty inexpensive tires when you do have to replace them. Got to give it up to Nissan. Just like I said on the front end, great job on the styling on the side profile as well. On the back end of the all-new Nissan Kicks, and you will see there's that style line coming over the rear fender. This is kind of the best angle of the car. I really find it pretty cool how that sort of bubbles out right there and then meets the tail lamp. They've done just such an awesome job with the styling on this car. That tail lamp wraps around. These are all LED lights, including the reverse lights, the turn signals, the running lights. Everything is LED back here. Have that Nissan badging in the center with that gloss black paint right up here. And then the flat black plastic runs in from the wheel wells and wraps around the rear end just like that. Take a peek under the car, see how everything looks there. This is the all-wheel drive model, so a little bit more complex down here than the front-wheel drive one. All right, guys, here we are, taking a look at the trunk in the Nissan Kicks. Now, one thing I did notice sitting in the trunk here is the rake of the windshield is pretty aggressive. As you can see, it comes down right there. So it's not a particularly tall trunk, as I just noticed sitting in it. I probably wouldn't have noticed that if I was not sitting in here. So you can't put anything particularly tall in the trunk. You probably are going to have to lay it down due to the rake of that window. And another thing I wanted to note on the trunk here is it is a bit smaller in the all-wheel drive model than it is in the front-wheel drive model. In the all-wheel drive here, it's 23.9 cubic feet of space. If you get the front-wheel drive model, it goes to 30 cubic feet of space back here behind these 60-40 split seats. So if you need more cargo space and you don't necessarily live in a snowy climate area, the front wheel drive probably is going to be the better option for you. But if you do live in the Northeast, you are going to have to sacrifice a little bit of that trunk space to have that all-wheel drive capability. Taking a seat in the back seat of the Nissan Kicks, I am 6'2". I do have the seating position that it was when I was just sitting in the front just now. And while it doesn't look roomy, it actually is a little bit roomier than expected. I'm not going to say it's the biggest back seat in this segment. I think that the back seat in the last gen Honda HR-V did feel a little bit more spacious than this does back here. So it's not the most spacious back seat, but if you guys do have a car seat, you're going to have to get back here. You have like a family and this is sort of going to be a short distance car. I think it definitely can handle that duty with the back seat space here. Moving from the back seat up to the front seat, we'll take a look at the interior up here. And the first thing I've noticed about the interior on the Kicks here is the choice of materials is very good. I find everything in here when I touch it to be very durable. This material on the door, that cloth material, this vinyl material on the doors, all seems to be pretty durable and like it's gonna last a good long time. Same goes for the steering wheel. It has in this base model a vinyl finish instead of being like leather wrapped, but the vinyl that goes around the steering wheel feels very durable. All the buttons on the steering wheel also feel pretty solid. Like nothing feels really chintzy on the steering wheel. These all feel pretty solid to the touch when you hit them. So we'll go ahead, hit the start button. It is not up on the dash like most vehicles where it would be right there. It is down here. So we'll go ahead, foot on the brake. And it comes to life just like that. And the only thing I've noticed that does feel a little below par is these little switches down here for the AC controls. As you can see, they kind of wiggle back and forth. So I'd kind of like to see a little bit of improvement on just how these buttons down here feel for the AC system, all that. But other than that, everything else in here feels great. This is the base model, so do keep in mind we don't have like leather seats in here. We have these cloth seats. They do have a pretty cool look to them. You know, they're not necessarily too bassy looking. They do feel very nice and cushy. When I'm sitting in them right now, they are very comfortable. And me being 6'2", I do have a good amount of room in here to stretch out. So if you are taller and you're thinking about the kicks, you're not sure if you're going to fit in it, I do fit in here pretty well. So if you guys are considering it and you are taller, do keep it on your list. Now, this being the base model, you can see how basic a lot of these controls up here look and how basic that radio screen looks. So you do get a bit of a bigger screen and some more safety options up here on the wheel. If you go to a higher model of the kicks, you're going to get like some more kind of self-driving functions on the right side of the steering wheel. You're going to get a bigger radio screen that probably functions better than this one does. But in this base model, we have your rev counter on the left side. It tells you what gear you're in there. You got the time, how many miles to E, your speedometer there, and then your gas gauge right there. And the only complaint I have on the interior so far is this radio system. It is very unresponsive. Does not have Sirius radio, I noticed as well, in this base model. So you do just have AM, FM, or Bluetooth. This radio does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but it does have to be plugged in order to use it. So do keep that in mind. If you do go up to some of the higher trim levels of the kicks, you will be able to get wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. One thing that I thought was very cool in here that Nissan included was the aux cord. I mean, when is the last time you saw, basically, like in a lot of the Chevys I get in, it seems like the only option nowadays is like, you know, the USB and then the USB-C. Right here, they have an aux cord still in 2025. So I really enjoy that. I think that's pretty funny when I saw that. Down here, you have that brake hold button with the park brake set. And while we're looking at the center tunnel here, I will grab the Yeti, the 26-ounce tumbler, and try to put it in the cup holder here. And you'll see it does not fit in the cup holder. So, I mean, it sits in there. So, you know, you go around some turns and stuff, it'll stay. You know, I mean, it's not, I don't think it'll fly out, but you know, it doesn't quite go all the way in like that. So I guess, you know, if you got the Stanley, those handle cups, those will fit in there because the Stanley has the skinnier base down there. But this, yeah, if you had something a little bit wider like this at the bottom, that is not going to fit in the cup holder here in the kicks. You can switch your drive modes with this little switch. So if I switch those, you'll see it pop up here, Sport, Standard, Eco, Snow. Kind of neat that that's on a base model vehicle. I like that it's a standard shifter. It's not like an annoying weird dial or something crazy. Like, it's just a normal shifter like we are used to. Like I said, the only pitfall up here is that radio system. So if you guys like a radio that is very responsive to the touch, this one is not necessarily it. You really kind of, as you can see, I'm like pressing it pretty hard. So I hope they can upgrade this for the base cars. I'm sure that more expensive radio that's a little bit larger is more responsive. All right, guys, let's take the kicks out onto the road real quick here. Gonna do a quick little pull and see how the acceleration is on this. Okay, all right. I mean, it's nothing exciting, but this car will do what you need it to do, and it's zippy enough. It's not gonna be like super slow. Like, it's not as slow as like when I drove the Toyota Corolla Cross. That one I felt like was like, wow, this thing's gonna take forever to get up to speed. It's not really the case with the kicks here. Like, it's zippy enough, but it's not gonna be the quickest thing in this segment. Another thing I've noticed about the kicks today while I've been driving it is the road noise. I find that the road noise from the tires is noticeably loud. So if you are somebody who does appreciate a quiet cabin, I think I would look elsewhere. I'm also gonna give the kicks credit for its suspension. If you live in a very bumpy area or you have a lot of potholes, things like that, the kicks handles it with grace. So if you guys live on a stone or a dirt road, something like that, you do have to take rather uneven road surfaces pretty often. The kicks does a really good job at handling bumps. I was actually blown away. So Nissan definitely did a great job at fine-tuning the suspension on the kicks. So props for that as well. Two more things I've noticed while driving the kicks here is the feeling of the brake pedal and also the feel of the steering. The brake pedal in here has a very wooden feeling, I guess you could call it. You really cannot feel what you're doing when you're hitting the brakes. Like, if you have to kind of hit the brakes rather hard, it's gonna be hard to mitigate how much brake input you're putting in, because there's absolutely no communication through the brake pedal on the kicks here. And another thing I've noticed is the communication to the front wheels from the steering here. It is not good. It is probably some of the numbest steering that I've felt in a vehicle in quite a long time. To me, it makes me a little uncomfortable being in a vehicle that I can't exactly feel what I'm doing with the brake pedal, and I also don't exactly know what's going on with the steering when I'm turning the car. Those are two pretty big things when you're driving, I would say, is braking and steering. And you know, in the space Nissan is in, it is a space that has a lot of competition. I mean, who doesn't have a small SUV like this nowadays? There's really almost no brands that do. It's kind of hard to name a brand that doesn't, but Nissan really has to get those items polished up if they want this to be a perfect little crossover for somebody. But due to the fact that this is so inexpensive, I gotta cut it a little bit of slack. I mean, being the fourth cheapest SUV in the country, and it comes with all-wheel drive, it's kind of hard to say no to. So do I expect all this stuff to be polished at that price point? I guess no, I can't be too picky at that price point, but those are some improvements I would like to see here on the Kicks. All right, guys, that wraps it up for my review of the all-new 2025 Nissan Kicks. I wanted to thank my friends here at Bob Johnson Nissan for allowing me to use the Kicks for this review today. If you guys would like to take a look at their Kicks inventory, it is in the description down below on their website. If you guys haven't already, like and subscribe, as I'm doing new car reviews just like this one on the channel all the time. And if you guys have any specific questions that I didn't answer, leave it in the comments down below, as I am pretty good at getting back to people. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next review.